everything we're doing this week is going to be low and slow. It's all about that love, all that love that we're putting in our food, love radiating from this mama. Hey y'all, hey, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Erica, TimetoShrink here on YouTube. Yeah, I've lost over 100 pounds, thus the name, chronicling my journey. But I do all things cooking around here, y'all. I love to cook. It is my passion, it is my hobby, and I have something so special today. Today is gonna be Jackson's favorite things. Jackson is my oldest. He's at college. He was back for spring break, and I told him to pick out 3 of his favorite meals, and I would make whatever he wanted. So that's what we're doing tonight, y'all. Everything we're doing this week is going to be low and slow. It's all about that love, all that love that we're putting in our food, love radiating from this mama, getting to make some special food for her baby that she hasn't seen in weeks and weeks. Yeah, that's where it's at. I hope y'all really enjoy this video. We are going to do beef tips, low and slow. We are going to do gumbo, hours of low and slow. We are going to do Bobo's red chicken stew. It is a specialty South Carolina dish, specifically from South Carolina Low Country, Edisto specifically. And that is another very low and slow. This is all about love. This is all about taking the time to make the special dishes. Often I bring you the quick and the easy, and pretty much that's what we do around here. We do the quick and the easy. I take our favorite Southern dishes, I make them quick, I make them easy. I often make them keto or low carb almost every single time. And that's what we do around here. But sometimes you want to step back, you want to channel that Southern grandma, and you want to put all the love and all the time into your food. That's what we're doing today, y'all. I'm gonna walk you through it. I want y'all to grab a cup of coffee or tea, maybe a pumpkin spice latte, because 'tis the season, and sit back and just enjoy. I will link either exactly my recipe written down below or where I got the inspiration recipe from, because y'all know I don't tend to cook with recipes. But gumbo, y'all, they're South and then they're South, right? Gumbo is Louisiana South. Bobo's red chicken stew, beef tips, South Carolina South. So I am using a recipe for the gumbo. Gumbo is not in my wheelhouse. It's something that Jack grew up eating on a Boy Scout trip. One of his Boy Scout leaders was from Louisiana, and on camping trips he would make big pots of gumbo because, you know, you've got all the time in the world out on that campsite. So I was not channeling myself or my grandma, although y'all, little secret, I don't have Southern grandmas. My grandmas are from the North. I grew up in the South, but I have Southern grandmas that I grew up with and Southern mamas that I grew up learning from. And so I'll be channeling my inner Mrs. Harmon for the Bobo chicken stew, and for the Louisiana dish, I'm just calling on any Louisiana grandmas to settle on my soul, All right, without further ado, let's jump into it, y'all, because I know y'all want to see this food, and I filmed Jack's reaction to all of them, which was really fun too. Okay, let's do it. Beef tips is something I've been making for such a long time. You're just going to use any kind of stew meat that you want. I actually cut up a chuck roast because that's what I had. And these are the seasonings I'm going to use. Always salt, pepper, butter. I'm also going to use a gluten-free brown gravy mix because that's what I have. Onions and celery, mushrooms, and bone broth. If you have your own bone broth, that's always preferable, but I did have a very good quality one. I'm using salt, pepper, and this salt-free garlic and herb seasoning. And I am just going to get this all over, and then I'm going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. I know I'm probably not saying that right. We should probably just call it the W sauce, right? Anyways, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator until I'm ready to make it. So probably a couple hours or so, just kind of let it marinate. I have it in my meat drawer, and we're just going to kind of let it sit there till we're ready for it. Next up, I'm going to use my really nice pan. This pan pan is really, really heavy bottomed. It's cast iron and then enamel coated. I'm using some olive oil and some butter. And then I'm going to take, this is literally just 1/4 cup of flour for a ton of beef. I feel like this was 3 pounds of beef. It may have been 3.5. This is a lot of beef here, y'all. So I'm just going to toss the flour just so we can get a nice little crust. If you are low carb or keto, you can totally skip this step. It's still going to get a lovely crust, but because I'm doing Jack's favorites, I'm not skimping on anything. I'm doing it my old Southern mama route, and just this is going to be a low and slow product. I've made this in the crock pot. I've made this in the Instant Pot. There are definitely faster methods, but this is what we're going to go for this day because I really, really just want it to come from my heart, and I feel like low and slow is what lends itself to that, you know? Does that make sense, y'all? Anyways, we're going to brown this up. We're going to put a nice layer of the beef tips in this, I started to say sauce. This is just our oil. Butter and oil, and we're going to get this nice and brown and crispy. You're not worrying about cooking this all the way through. We're going to cook this all day long. We're just worrying about getting a really nice crust on all sides. If you're trying to do a quick version of this, you can totally skip this browning stage, but if you have the time, it really does make a difference. It's building flavors. It's depth of flavors. The Southern cooking, y'all, it's all about building layers upon layers upon layers of flavor. I feel like that's probably cooking everywhere, but I've only ever cooked in the South, so I have to come from my point of view, right? My mama did grow up in Ohio, but my mama's not really into cooking. Like, surprise, surprise, I did not learn to cook from my mama. I taught myself. It's just not her thing. She does lots of amazing things, but anyways, see how we brown this and we have all these nice, crispy, yummy bits in the bottom? Look at my stove. Oh my gosh, this splatter. Oh, this splatter, y'all. So onions and celery are going in, and usually I use a wooden spoon. Not sure what we're doing here. Get a wooden spoon, y'all. It works so much better. But we're going to toss this around, and then I put a little bit of my bone broth in to help me pull that stuff off the bottom. You do not want to lose that flavor. That is so much flavor. So we're just going to use a really good quality beef broth, and we are just pushing this all around the bottom. See, I did finally switch to my wooden spoon. It works so much better, y'all. It's a flat wooden spoon. I love these spoons so much. Got them on Amazon if anybody's curious, but you want to get all of those bits and goodies off the bottom as much as you possibly can. So while this onion and celery is cooking, I'm going ahead and doing all of that. Now I'm going to go ahead and make up my gravy while that's simmering. You could use any kind of regular brown gravy. I tend to try to go gluten-free when I can, but y'all saw me use regular flour. This is just the gravy I had. It's literally water and a gravy packet. You could skip this and make your own gravy at the end. This is a little time saver that I do happen to like the flavor that it brings, so I feel like it's worth it. So, see how this has pulled everything up off the bottom? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now we're adding just a little bit more butter just to make it nice and rich. Layers of flavor, layers of flavor. I felt like it just needed that little knob of butter added, y'all. Now we're just going to go in with a little more of the W sauce, probably about a tablespoon. It just gives a really nice depth of flavor. Going in with some pepper and some more of that salt-free garlic and herb seasoning. We're just going to get that all mixed in. And I've been cooking this down low and slow, so I'm basically going for getting rid of all of the broth that was there before I add more broth. Now I'm going to add the remainder of this container of broth. This is going to be one I got on Thrive Market, bare bones, grass-fed bone broth, and I really, really have been pleased with this one. It was 16 ounces that we ended up adding total, so we're adding all of that in and then just stirring it and getting that all nice and mixed in. Now we're adding mushrooms. Usually I started to say raw mushrooms and cut them up, and I'll cook them in a layer as well, but I didn't have any and I did have this can. I did go ahead and add an entire can including the liquid. I thought it could use that extra little bit of liquid, and now we're going in with our broth and we are just going to get all of that in there. You don't want to miss any of that goodness, and we're going to stir this again. Remember, layers and layers of flavor. That's probably the drinking word of the day, y'all. You're going to hear that a lot. 2 bay leaves, and then we're going in with the rest of the beef, throwing in that beef and getting it all mixed well. And then, y'all, we are just going to take this and put it in the oven. I'm putting it in the oven at 325 degrees, covered. And this is going to go in for probably at least a couple hours, and then we'll check it and go from there. Putting it in my oven, 325 degrees, y'all, and leaving that top on low and slow. It's all about the low and slow to build that flavor. I usually serve this over mashed potatoes or mashed cauliflower or egg noodles. Jackson asked for bow tie noodles. Not really sure what that was about. Here's what the product looks like at the end. How delicious does this look? Oh my gosh. Only negative is I feel like I could have had a little bit more gravy. Maybe I could have added more beef broth so that in the end I could make myself some more gravy. But it was delicious. It was so delicious. Here I am plating it up, and let's see what Jackson has to say, y'all. All right, Jack is who we are making this dinner for, so let's see what he thinks.
Very good.
Is it good? Is this what you had in your head?
Yes. This is perfect.
Yes?
Very good. Thank you.
Even though you chose bow tie noodles instead of egg noodles?
I know it's not what it's supposed to be, but for some reason, that's just what I wanted.
Well, your wish is my command right now, baby.
It's very good. Thank you,
I'm so
Mom.
glad. You're welcome, baby. Y'all, Bobo's red chicken stew. This is something that I start making a stock first, and then we go from there. You could cheat and buy a rotisserie chicken and use like whatever stock you find or have, but I feel like making my stock with my chicken from the start of this just lends so much more flavor and so much more love, right? We're cooking with love today, y'all. So I have this huge raw chicken, and this is going to be a pastured chicken, and I am putting in all of those veggies that you saw, just veggie scraps. I put in a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and then we're going to do this for 90 minutes in the Instant Pot. You could do this low and slow on your stove all day long, but when I do it low and slow, I really tend on my stove to like to do it for like 24 hours. So I'm using the Instant Pot. It worked perfectly. Now my mom is actually helping me with this, y'all. We've got some bacon going in my Dutch oven. We've got some eggs getting ready. And then here is the chicken broth. It looks so good. So good. Here's the actual chicken. It is just falling apart. I did it for 90 minutes in the Instant Pot, and then I let it sit for 2 hours just simmering in the Instant Pot before I strained it. So this is what it looks like after I strained it. I leave all the fat in there, absolutely, but look at the color of this. So good. So my mom rendered some onions and some bacon. That's like 2 whole sliced onions and bacon, and we're going in with about 3 cups. And then she's making the eggs on the stovetop. She boiled the water for 10 minutes, and then she just put the cover on she boiled the water, put the eggs in, and then left them covered for 10 minutes. Now we're adding one of the secret ingredients, an entire bottle of ketchup, y'all. An entire bottle of ketchup. This is a stew that originated. You're also going in with a half of a bottle of Worcestershire sauce, y'all. A half a bottle, yes. Half of a normal size bottle. This stew sounds so strange, y'all. It's from back in the day, Low Country Edisto. I think it might have some Gullah roots actually, and it is hard to find recipes for, hard to find on Pinterest, so I will leave it down below. But y'all, I also add cayenne. It calls for half of a teaspoon. I only added probably 1/4 of a teaspoon. You can always add more later, and then you add a bunch of pepper. So here's my mama going in with some pepper. I told y'all earlier my mama is not much of a cook, meaning that she doesn't enjoy it, but she does enjoy it when she's cooking with me, and I love having someone in the kitchen with me. And when you're making family homey meals, how much better to have family doing it with you. Jackson was working on homework, so it was so nice to have my mom put in all of that chicken, the entire chicken that I deboned, and then you go in with a stick of butter. My mama won't ever let me do more than half a stick, so we did half a stick this day. Then there's the eggs. We did 6 eggs, And then I cooked up the rest of the bacon, and then that's what's left of our broth that we'll use for our gumbo tomorrow. But you're literally going to put 6 sliced eggs into this. So once the butter gets melted, we're going to add in our eggs. Obviously, I have this sped up, so it looks like this came together really quickly. It actually took me the majority of the day to cook the chicken, and then it took us a couple hours on the stovetop. Probably like an hour on the stovetop. This one does come together rather quickly once you start cooking it. You don't have to cook it down for all that long. I ended up adding probably 2 more cups of chicken broth into this because I wanted it to be a little more liquidy. So you put your rice in your bowl. I cooked my rice in the Instant Pot because that's how I tend to cook rice. Then we're just filling our bowl up, and we're going to top it with a little bit more of that bacon. We cooked some more bacon. I did start this recipe with bacon, about 8 slices of bacon, and then the rest of the bacon we're using to put on top along with chives. All right, let's see what Jackson thinks, y'all. All right, so what do you think of the red chicken stew?
It does exactly what I wanted it to do, which was remind me of being a kid. Like, I have vivid memories of eating this stuff at their house.
Say hi, Mom and Dad.
In the fall and the winter. Like, it's doing exactly what I want it to do.
Perfect. So hit the spot. Mm-hmm. All right. It's a strange concoction, but it's good, right?
Wonderful.
It's a strange concoction.
I think when
Whenever
I
I
go
tell
back,
people what we're eating, they're like, what?
No, it's good though, right? Mm-hmm. I'll have to write it out down below because it's hard to search. Gumbo time, y'all. It is time to channel someone's Louisiana grandma. I'm just asking for her to sit on my soul and guide me through this because I have never made gumbo. I'm using this Bold Bayou Cajun seasoning from Fresh Jack's. I know my Louisiana grandma that I just channeled is probably rolling over in her grave because I'm not using Tony Chachere's, but I like the Bold Bayou. I am first going to cook up my chicken thighs, y'all. This is going to be pork fat. It is lard that I rendered. I made that earlier in the day. I did take the time to render it, but I kind of cheated because I did it in the air fryer. So I cooked up the pork belly in the air fryer and rendered it all out. Now we're cooking our chicken thighs. I really like thighs for this because this gumbo is going to cook for hours, and you don't want dry meat. You do not want dry meat. And because it's going to cook in this gumbo and soak up all this sauce, you're not going to even know that it's thigh meat. Those of you that think you don't like thigh meat, use thigh meat here. Trust your Southern mama. I promise I know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing with gumbo necessarily, but I know what I'm doing with low and slow Southern cooking. Okay, back to channeling the Louisiana grandma and trying not to freak out, y'all. This part I'm solid. I know how to cook some meat. I'm solid on this part. So I'm getting this nice and crispy, and then it told me to do it right in this same bowl. It's going to be a 1/2 cup of fat to a 1/2 cup of oil. Y'all, I think that I messed up already. I think I should have used a clean bowl for my roux, but here we go. Here we go. We are going to go try and baby this and try and make a roux. I'm so scared that I'm going to burn it. I'm so scared that I'm going to burn it, y'all. Okay, I'm going to go from voiceover to regular here so you kind of see what's actually happening. I feel like I'm starting to see color changes, y'all. 40 minutes. Not nearly dark enough, y'all. Not nearly dark enough. We're getting there. It smells good. Smells nice and golden and toasty. Rachel and Joe keeping me company. Well, y'all, I'm starting over. I burned it. I'm pretty sure I burned it. So we're starting over. I think what happened, y'all, was those pieces from when I cooked this, which is what it told me to do. It said to cook this and then cook the roux in the same pot, but I'm worried that all of those little bits and pieces are what burned, not the roux. But it did smell like burnt popcorn, and so we're starting over because I want this to be perfect, y'all. Obviously, I don't do Louisiana cooking very often, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it. All right, here we are at our base color, very, 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 very light and yellow. I've got it at a right underneath medium. I think what happened is I tried to rush it. I tried to go to this big burner, even though I had it on lower. This is just too powerful of a burner, I think. So we don't have any more lard, so now we are going to use ghee, which is clarified butter. And I did put just a little bit, maybe like 2 tablespoons of avocado oil for the heat point. But hopefully this works, y'all. They suggest peanut oil, but I don't want to use an inflammatory oil. So, I don't know. Maybe I should have done avocado oil. I don't know. Y'all Louisiana people, tell me, what do you use for your roux? Give me the tips and tricks. I should have asked y'all already. What I am learning, y'all, is that roux is serious business. Like, you can't look away from it. Like, no drinking a glass of wine or a beer, no like going to let the dogs out, no like dealing with children. This is serious business. You are one with your roux. Do not look away. You are going to be here forever and ever and ever, but it's so going to be worth it. Okay, back to working on this. About 20 minutes in. Definitely starting to get a little bit of a browning. We're at about 35 minutes. I'm trying to really baby it, y'all. We're at about 50 minutes and it looks like it's starting to get a little darker now. I'm scared to take it to the chocolatey color that I want to take it to because I don't want to burn it again, y'all. One tip, watch some videos before you try this. I did not watch any videos before I tried this, y'all. What was I thinking? Oh my goodness gravy. Here's some broth that I'm heating up because we're going to need that in just a bit. But y'all, this is taking freaking forever. I watched some videos of Isaac Taub after and I learned so much. I think I had my heat too low. I had it like below medium, but I was so scared to burn it. I was so scared, y'all. This is serious business. Oh my goodness. It took me a total of 2 hours, y'all. The first one I burned, then I had to clean my pan, and then I babied the crud out of this one. Probably could have got a little darker, but I'm pretty happy with it. When you get it to the color that you want it, you go ahead and add your veggies. I'm adding some onions, some celery, and some bell pepper and some parsley. And this is gonna bubble up because there's water in this, but this cooks the roux just that little bit farther. And you can see the color of this is chocolatey, but it's not like dark chocolate color, which is what I really wanted, y'all. But I was scared. I will be trying again. Y'all will see me making roux in the future. So I heated up my chicken broth and I'm adding my chicken broth in now that the onions and celery and peppers have all been done. The holy trinity is going to be your onions, your peppers, your green peppers, and your celery. That is the holy trinity of cooking in Louisiana. So we definitely added those, and then often there's a fourth garlic, and we are going to add garlic as well. We did add garlic as well is what I meant to say. And now I'm putting in my meat back in, all of my meat, and then I'm putting in my okra. I did about half of a pack of frozen okra. Y'all, the okra is going to help thicken the soup, but when you cook it for a long time, there will be zero slime factor. You will not even see or taste the okra. Now, if you put massive amounts of okra, maybe, but you want your gumbo to cook low and slow. You want 2.5, 3 hours on that gumbo, y'all. I made a southern skillet cornbread, just a plain cornbread, no sugar involved. Accidentally put my shrimp in my stock or in my gumbo too soon. So that was a problem that I did have and did end up dealing with. So I had pulled it out to the side until we actually ate and then put it back in. Okay, y'all, I know this was way sped up, but this was our gumbo. Let's see what Jack thinks. All right, Jack, gumbo and cornbread. What do we think?
Well, I'll preface with, this is not a dish that Mom traditionally made. It is very good, but this is a dish I had while camping.
Right. I've never made gumbo before.
She has never made gumbo before, but it is very good. Brings back happy memories.
How about the cornbread?
Cornbread is also very good, but it's cornbread, you know? Awesome. Cornbread is good.
All right.
Cornbread's good. It's a fact.
All right, y'all, what did you think? Very different than my typical recipes that are usually super quick and easy. These were low and slow and full of love. Although every recipe that I make is full of love. But what did y'all think? I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope maybe you'll try one of them. I know Jack loved them. My dad said if I'm gonna cook like this, Jack needs to come home every weekend. But it was really good family time. We really enjoyed it, and I will see y'all again really soon. Bye, y'all. Be blessed.